it's the first official day in Minnesota, and I'm not really sure what the plan is yet, but I think I want to do a little scouting and then hopefully find some cool stuff to do and film for you guys. Right now I'm on the Lake Superior. Beautiful, this gorgeous shoreline. But at the moment, I think the first mission for the day is going to be going and getting some coffee. After getting coffee, I drove about an hour with my family, where we arrived at this job, the highest point in Duluth. We set out on about a 4-mile hike, with the goal in my head, a handstand at the summit and any other points that might look cool. Trails ranged from flat gravel like this one to more off-road ones that were marked with trail markers, especially for the tight fits and some of the staircases. Early into the hike, we actually reached the first outlook, which from the ground I didn't think we'd even be able to get to. When we climbed out and looked, it was one of those things that made you appreciate the height. Height, if it's safe and you can overcome your fear, can be one of the most beautiful things, letting you see something that you wouldn't be able to see anywhere else. Just looking at the landscape, stretching out, everything is in view. The trails winded around and around, sometimes making it seem like we were walking in circles. The light cascaded through the canopy above us, turning the dirt different colors. The dirt itself would turn into grass, into different rock formations, and then back into the chunky soil. With each outlook we reached, bringing us higher and higher, closer to the summit, and giving us more and more sight of the forest skyline. The coolest part about this hike was we were able to meet some really nice people. From the hikers that we met early on when we parked the car and later saw at the top, to some rock climbers who were making me wish that Evan was there with his equipment. Still, after managing to scramble up some of the rocks and get some pictures, I found a few easy ledges to climb up, and luckily for me, they had enough grip that I was able to kind of just muscle my way through the motion.
It's going good. How high is it to the top?
Not too far.
Okay, nice.
Some of the best pictures, I think, came from this little grippy challenge I found. I was able to really dig my hand into the crevice and just kind of work my way up to this little ledge, which I was able to sit on. There was a lot of surfaces I had to check though, just because even though I trusted the rock climbers, they did have equipment which I didn't have, and free soloing can always be a little bit dangerous, so I made sure to really just check the surfaces and make sure there weren't any loose rocks I was gripping onto. The last thing I wanted to do was fall down. Even though the drop wasn't too big, falling onto rocks and in between that tree and the boulder probably wouldn't have been the nicest way to come down. After the little climbing excursion, we followed a few more paths and then finally reached the first big outlook. I was really tempted to get a handstand here just because I didn't know how much farther we were going to go. But after a quick look around, I realized we could go a lot higher, and so we ended up doing that. When we reached the very top, or what was the highest point that we could get to, the wind was super angry. It was just sweeping around us, and I was really glad I tied back my hair when I got ready for the first handstand. It was windy enough that it felt like I was getting pushed towards the edge, and if my hair had been hitting me in the face, it probably would have thrown me off even more. I got a few cool shots of my handstand, and then
got a few cool shots of my family, and then one more handstand picture just for good measure, since we were up there. And then for the last one, I wanted to get a one-handed handstand, but it was just too windy and it didn't end up happening. The day in my mind was just getting started, and I really wanted to explore a lot more. There were just so much cool things there, but sadly the rest of the family was getting really tired from the hiking around, and they weren't really used to the amount of hiking that we were doing, especially with elevation. So I made one last stop at one more of the high points on the mountain, just to get one more handstand and look around.
I guess you find urban art every urban art anywhere you go. Okay. Isn't that dope? Let's get a better look over here.
This climb was sketchy. For one, it was just a lot more steeper than when I first looked at it, and it felt like I was sliding just straight towards the edge. And then the second part that just made it even more sketchy was the wind. It really did make it feel like you were just getting blown away the entire time you were on it. So I was just trying my best to not slip off on some of the steeper parts as I made my way around to the flatter ledges. And then I ended up just deciding to crab walk everywhere, because after my descent it just got too sketchy to try to stand up with the braces and walk around some of the parts. In a few clips you can definitely see I start to kind of slide towards the edge, and the biggest thing was just not panicking and just getting control back in that kind of situation. And I turned around, started looking for grips in the rock to start climbing back up, and with enough looking around I managed to find a few good grips, and I started making my way back up to the top. The one thing I can say is if you're gonna go out hiking and stuff, just always stay inside your safety zone. Don't climb on something or climb up something that you don't think you can get down from. Always just judge for yourself. But I hope you guys enjoyed watching. It was really fun to shoot and film this. And yeah, until next time, please like and subscribe if you like this kind of content. And until next time.